And after working just 4 hours a week for 2 months, I'm now a multi-millionaire.
So if you really want to be rich, should you not start a side hustle? Why would it even be a bad idea? And if you should not start a side hustle to get rich, then what should you do instead? Let's find out.
I finally got serious about wanting to change my life a few years ago, so I did my research. I found the ultimate side hustle by watching hundreds of hours of YouTube videos and picking the one that was right for me.
I'm curious to know, what is that side hustle? And why is it so great? And should you start this one too?
And after working just 4 hours a week for 2 months, I'm now a multi-millionaire.
Okay, this guy is kidding. But who wouldn't love that kind of outcome? You work for 4 hours a week for 3 months and you become a millionaire. Everyone would want that, right? I mean, I can guarantee that if you could offer a pill and it helped people to lose 20 pounds instantly, or gain 20 pounds of muscle instantly, or it turned them into a millionaire or a 6 figures a year earner, most people would die to actually buy your product. Like, they would do anything it would take to get that money, even if it cost $100,000. So this goes to show you that what actually matters in business, it is giving people what they want. If you try to force a product or a service down people's throats, but they don't actually need it or even want it, you will never get any sales. Typically, if you started your business like a couple months ago, even a year ago, and you still haven't gotten your first customers, there's 3 possible reasons why that could be the case. The first is that you're simply selling something that people don't want. When that's the case, you need to get over it, let go of your baby, so to speak, and ask people what they want, or figure out what they want, and then sell it to them. Now, the other thing could be that you are not properly communicating the value that you offer. So it's not that what you offer is bad, it's that you don't know how to get attention for it. You've got no visibility. Nobody even knows that you exist. And then the third thing that could be preventing you from getting sales, it could simply be that you are not targeting the right customers, the right audience. To give you an example, if you do this, it's kind of like trying to sell meat to vegan people. Obviously, it's not going to work very well for you.
Here's the truth. Watching videos about side hustles is just taking you down the rabbit hole. You'll find yourself clicking on one video after another in hopes of finding a good way to make money, but after hours of wandering about, you'll end up lost, overwhelmed, and confused.
That's exactly what happened to me when I first got started in the world of online business. Obviously, at the time, I wanted to figure out what's the best online business to start. My goal was to make as much money as quickly as possible and obviously as effortlessly as possible. I didn't care if it was through dropshipping, through affiliate marketing, through consulting. I just wanted the money. So I watched video after video on what's the best online business to start. Now, years later, this is the sort of life that I've been able to build for myself thanks to starting my business. So do you want to know how that actually went for me? The thing that got me to where I am today. It was picking one thing, one business model, and focusing on it until I got what I wanted. That's the only way you're actually going to become successful. If you spend all of your time just watching YouTube videos on how to start a business, on what's the best business to start, but you don't actually pick one and just commit to it and get started, focus on it for 6 months to a year, obviously, what are you waiting for? A lot of people have this misconception that if you want to be a millionaire, you need to be smart or talented or be born in a rich family and all that stuff. And while those things, they sure as hell help, it is not required. Truth is, I thought that if you wanted to be a millionaire, you had to be very smart. And then later on, when I came into contact with wealth, I realized you don't have to be smart. It is not about how high your IQ is, because from what I've seen, the people who made the most amount of money, they were not necessarily the most clever. However, they were the ones who took the most amount of action. They were willing to learn. They had a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset. Now you may wonder, okay, what's the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset? People with a growth mindset, they typically believe that they can do better, they can improve themselves, they can learn skills or traits, while people with a fixed mindset, it's quite the opposite. They think that you are how you are, and there isn't much that you can do to change that. So as you can see, this becomes a problem if you think this way, if you have this kind of mindset, because whenever you want to learn something or reach a new goal, a new objective, you need to learn skills along the way. You need to learn some knowledge and then go ahead and apply it. But if you think that you're stuck as you are, or that there isn't much that you can do to change your current situation, obviously you won't start, or if you do start, you'll do things halfway, and that will never lead you to success. I can guarantee it. Now, if you spend your days watching videos on YouTube or after university, or you come back from your job and you just watch videos on top 10 ways to make $200 a day or the best side hustles to start, truthfully, you are procrastinating. You might trick yourself into thinking you're getting something, you're moving closer towards reaching your goals, but in reality, it is simply procrastination. You've got to understand that your brain, it does not actually care about helping you to reach your goals. The only thing that your brain cares about is to make you safe, to help you to survive. And how is it going to do that? By encouraging you to take as little risks as possible. But guess what? If you don't take any risks, then there is no potential reward on the other side. started. And there is something which is called information overload, and that is very, very true, and it's also very dangerous, and it will hold you back from making a lot of money and becoming a millionaire if this is what you want. So what's information overload? You see, nowadays with YouTube, with social media, with Google, we have access to free information. Like, you can pretty much find a tutorial or a blog article for literally anything online. Somebody can, technically speaking, learn how to play the guitar, learn how to do some kind of workout, learn how to cook, learn how to do other things, learn how to become great at email marketing just by browsing the internet, by watching videos, following courses, reading blogs and all that stuff. However, when you put so much information in your mind constantly, what happens is what we call information overload. You don't even know what you should do anymore because there are so many things that you think you could do, so you don't even know where to start, you don't know what to do, because what matters more than the information that you have, than the knowledge that you have, is that you create a step-by-step plan and then you ruthlessly execute on it day after day. Because at the end of the day, it's like if you're trying to build muscle, you want to be jacked. You could read every possible book on how to get jacked, you could watch every possible YouTube video on bodybuilding. However, if you don't actually go and get in the gym, lift weights, then rest properly, eat properly, it doesn't matter if you have the entire knowledge of the world when it comes to bodybuilding, because you'll still be skinny or overweight. It's only with action and consistent, frequent action that you will reach your goal, and the same applies in business. And truthfully, I understand you if you're in this stage, because when I got started, I was watching every YouTube video on the side hustles and on the top 10 books to read to make money, and I was hooked. I wanted to find out what's the secret. I thought that if I watched another video, then I would surely stumble upon the secret that would help me to become a millionaire. But you see, when you don't have a clear plan, a clear vision, you don't know exactly what you want. Because to give you an example, most people, they know they want to make more money, they want to be in better shape, they want to have more freedom, they want to travel more, they want to be able to buy anything without having to even look at the price tag. But the thing is, we all want those things. Wanting those things is not going to make you different. That's what I realized one day. I thought that my ambition made me different, but that's not the case. Everybody pretty much is ambitious. I mean, if you ask to most people, if you click on this button, you'll become a millionaire. Most people, they would click on the button without even thinking about it. So it's not wanting the success that makes you different. It's going after it day in, day out, and especially when you don't feel like it. Especially when you're barely getting any results and all that is keeping you going is your ideal, your vision. You want to make it come true, so you roll up your sleeves, you get to work, and you do whatever the hell it takes day in, day out. And back then when I got started, I had something called shiny object syndrome, and you might have it as well right now. It's when you're unable to focus on one thing, to stick to one business model, for instance. And as a result, obviously you don't get any success. I mean, I can guarantee right now that if you try to start multiple businesses at the same time, every single one of them is going to fail. It's a guarantee. Why? Because you only have so much time, energy, and resources to invest in each business every day. And a lot of you will still go to university, to school, or you have a 9 to 5, so you don't have that much time in a day. I mean, you only have 24 hours, we all do. But if you spread yourself thin in 10,000 different directions, you can understand surely that you will barely achieve anything. It's like if you're mediocre in 10 different things, well, you don't really stand out. To give you another example, if Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, if these guys, they were trying to compete in 5 different sports at the same time, they wouldn't have the success that they have today. And I mean, to really show you just how bad I had shiny object syndrome, one of the first kind of businesses that I started, it was some kind of dropshipping business. At the time, I started it with my best friend, but we were both broke students. We didn't have that much money to invest. And so we spiked the competition, we found a winning product, which is basically a trendy, a cool product. Then we made a Shopify store and we ran some paid ads on Facebook to get some customers. And the funny thing is that we got our very first sale within 30 minutes of launching our ad campaign. I remember just going into my room and I had dozens of WhatsApp notifications from my friend, and he was ecstatic because we had gotten our very first sale. And let me tell you, the first time you make some money online, and I'm not talking about selling clothes on Vinted, but the first time that you start a business and you get your first sale, it is insane. It's a feeling like nothing else. You actually feel free, and it feels just so fulfilling because all of your hard work, it pays off, and that is a crazy feeling. But like I said, we were both broke students, so we couldn't keep paying for the ads. So in the end, we lost everything. We did not make a profit. We didn't even break even. And so what happened is that we decided to try dropshipping, but with organic marketing this time instead. But hey, remember, I had severe shiny object syndrome. I couldn't pick one thing, stick with it, and then focus on it long enough to actually see the results that I wanted. So guess what I did? I started one dropshipping store, but then I was like, you know what? This other one in this other niche, it looks better. So let's start a Shopify store on this. And so I closed the one I was working on, and then I would start another one. And we had so many problems with Facebook ad banning and we also had so many problems with Facebook ads just banning the ad accounts for literally no reason.
I'm here to tell you that for someone who actually really wants to change their life for the better, side hustles are not the way to go.
I completely agree with this. I've made a few videos on my channel on top 10 ways to make money online for a teenager or as a beginner. And everything I share with you in those videos, they can make you money technically speaking. However, if you truly want to obtain financial abundance, to live the sort of life that you've always dreamed of, to be able to pay for things without having to worry about the price tag, a side hustle is not going to allow you to do that. In my opinion, what a side hustle is going to allow you to do is to make some extra cash on the side, like a few $100s on the side. But it is not going to replace the income that would be otherwise brought in by your job. It's not going to make you 6 figures a year or even 7 figures a year. In my opinion, when you start a side hustle, you're not really committed to it. You just want to make some extra cash on the side quickly. You're not willing to actually put in the work and to treat it like a business. But guess what? If you want to make 6 figures a year or 7 figures a year, you are trying to achieve the extraordinary. Most people, they don't make 6 figures a year. Most people, they don't make 7 figures a year. They're not millionaires, and that's for a reason. I mean, it's called the top 1% for a reason. You have to be willing to do the hard work and to make many sacrifices. So if you shouldn't start a side hustle, then what should you do? You should start an online business. And like I said, the difference between an online business and a side hustle is that the side hustle could be anything like completing online surveys or doing some kind of translation jobs or anything like that. Whereas starting an online business, it could be dropshipping, it could be affiliate marketing, it could be consulting, it could be selling online courses, and it could be many other things. We'll come back to that later. But the goal with an online business is to be able to quit your job or to be able to quit school and to focus on it 100%. And that, like I said, you can scale it to 6 figures, 7 figures a year, and for the most ambitious of you, 8 figures a year.
Side hustles are a distraction, an attempt at a quick fix, a little bit of easy money. But your time and energy is limited. By filling up any free time you have with extra work of some kind that just pays a small amount, you stay on the hamster wheel, always running.
One thing that most people don't understand is that they think that if they want to make more money, they need to have 10,000 different investments, or they need to have a clothing brand, and then they need to have YouTube AdSense revenue, and then they need to do coaching and all of this. In reality, like I said, the more things you focus on, you're just spreading yourself thin. And guess what happens if you do that? You're in that hamster wheel. You keep spinning and spinning and spinning, and the months go by, the years go by, and you still don't make 6 figures or 7 figures a year. In fact, you barely make any money online. And you see all those guys like me living the life that you would want to live, and you wonder how come you don't? Well, that's why, because you started a side hustle and not an actual business.
Follow the 4 steps that we will discuss in this video to use your free time to build a business that can change your life instead of pursuing a side gig that will just be a small supplement to your main job that keeps you on the hamster wheel.
I've read this book called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Maybe some of you have read it too. And in that book, the main concept is that he tells you to 10x your goals, meaning if you wanted to make $10,000 a month, then you should 10x that goal and aim for $100,000 a month. It's kind of like that quote, aim for the moon, so if you don't reach that goal, you end up in the stars or something like that. And lots of people made fun of that silly quote, but it actually makes a lot of sense. Now, should you really 10x your goals? Like if your goal is to make $10,000 a month, should you say instead, you know what? Okay, fine. I don't want to make $10,000 a month anymore. Now I want to make $100,000 a month, and I want it now. In my opinion, not necessarily. You know, there is a big difference between outcome-related goals and performance-driven goals. To give you an example, an outcome-related goal, it could be I want to weigh X amount of weight, or I want to be 10% body fat and see my abs. That's an outcome-related goal. However, a performance-related goal, it could be I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. I'm going to sleep 8 to 9 hours a night, and I'm going to eat, let's say, 2,000 calories a day. Those would be performance-related goals. And what many studies have found is that, interestingly enough, it's the people who focus on the journey, on the process, on the performance, who actually go so much further than the people who simply focus on the end goal. Because to be honest, what gets you that end goal that you want? It's the journey, it's the process, it's the daily routine. You need to learn to fall in love with the daily process, the routine. Because if you don't, there is no way you'll get the success that you want. Because you'll just give up somewhere along the way. If you hate what you do every day, it's going to be so difficult to stick with it long term. And that is what you need to do to be successful. Things are not going to happen magically overnight. I mean, just look back at the post history of this channel. I've been making videos for over a year, and right now I publish 2 videos a day on YouTube. That's a lot of work, and surely one day this channel is going to blow up and get a lot of views and lots of subscribers in 1 month, and people will discover this channel massively. And some people might say, oh, it's an overnight success, or they will say, oh, you got lucky. In reality, look back at the post history of the channel. There's probably going to be 1,500 videos on there. Truthfully, when you experience some kind of success, a lot of people are going to be very quick to say that, oh, you know what, you got lucky, or that anyway, you're just a natural, it was effortless for you. Let me tell you, it's not. For most successful people, they had to work all the way up, starting from rock bottom. Most millionaires and billionaires, they're self-made. Now, I get that we can argue on the topic of being self-made. It's kind of controversial because we have to define first what it means to be self-made, because we all have our own unfair advantage. Some people, they will have richer parents, fair. Some people, they will have had a better job, fair. Somebody's going to be born in a first world country, while somebody else is going to be born in a third world country. Bottom line, we all have one unfair advantage at the very least. Just think about the things that you can do that others simply can't.
So here's the secret to starting a successful business. Actually, it's not really a secret at all, but it gets drowned out amidst all the noise and distractions on YouTube from countless how to make money videos. The truth is, finding success in business comes down to this one simple formula. Write it down and always keep it in mind. You need to 1. Identify a problem. 2. Solve the problem. 3. Get paid. 4. Refine and repeat.
And that formula is going to turn you into a multi-millionaire. And in fact, it could even turn you into a billionaire if you apply it correctly. What's business all about really? You need to find a market, and that market, they have a problem, a need, and they want it fixed. Because it's really painful. They want to fix that problem as quickly as possible and as effortlessly as possible. So you come in and you offer a product or a service which can help them to solve that painful problem. And so of course they're going to be willing to pay you. And then you listen to the feedback that the market is giving you, like maybe they want something like this instead of something like this, and you make iterations based on what people want. Most people, they fail in business because they're not giving people what they want. Zig Ziglar said, if you give people what they want, you'll be able to have anything you've ever wanted. And it completely makes sense, because if you give the market what it wants, they'll pay you. And with that money, you can have the sort of life that you have always dreamed of. There will be no limits. And that's why when you start a business based on your passion, it's likely that it is going to fail. Why? Because you simply take yourself in the equation, when in reality what matters the most is the needs, the problems of your market. Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day if you are passionate about your product or your service if nobody wants it, because in that scenario it would be simply a hobby, a passion, not an actual business. So keep this in mind. Being an entrepreneur, a business owner, it's all about solving people's problems. If you go to the restaurant, what problem are they solving? You're hungry, you want something tasty to eat and you don't want to have to cook it yourself. Now if you go to a doctor and you need a very important surgery to be healthy and to survive, obviously the price of a restaurant meal is going to be a lot less than the price of the surgery. The reason being, the surgery is going to solve a much deeper, a much more painful problem. So the more painful the problem is that you solve for people, the more money they will be willing to pay you in exchange. That's the foundations of business. Solve problems for people. If you do this, you cannot get it wrong. Now truthfully, when I got started in business, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what business to start. I was just clueless. And so I really wish that at the time, somebody had made a video showing me exactly what are the pros and the cons of every popular online business model, because I would have saved so much time and I would have found the best business model and just gone right to the essentials. But luckily for you, I have recorded a free video in which I analyze every popular online business model. We take a look at the pros and at the cons, and I am also going to share with you the 3-step process that you can use to start your own business today and start getting your first customers. The link is in the description below. And with that said, as always, I am waiting for you on the other side.